Ly Tu Diem. Hello everyone, wishing you all good health and peace in life. Sometimes, love demands more than just words. It calls for courage. In a world where power and wealth often silence sincerity, Tu Diem, a woman of quiet strength, stood tall for what her heart believed in. She didn't flinch in the face of fear, even when that fear came in the form of Toan's powerful, wealthy mother. To protect her love, she chose to confront everything that once made her feel small. This is not just a story of romance. It is a story of dignity, sacrifice, and the unwavering spirit of a woman who dared to fight for the right to be loved.
In a world where money spoke louder than truth, and appearances held more weight than hearts, love was often the quietest voice in the room. But Tu Diem had never been the kind to stay silent when it mattered most, not when it came to the man she loved. The day was heavy with tension. Rain lashed against the wide windows of the luxurious mansion, where Toan's mother sat, upright and sharp-eyed. Her posture as cold and rigid as the pearls around her neck. She had summoned Tu Diem, not with kindness, but with authority, the kind of authority only the rich believed they were born with. Tu Diem arrived not in fine clothes or jewelry, but in quiet dignity. Her eyes carried storms of pain, but also the light of someone who had survived too much to ever bow again. She wasn't just fighting for herself today. She was standing for something more precious: love. The only thing that had ever given her a reason to breathe through suffering. Tu Diem arrived not in fine clothes or jewelry, but in quiet dignity. Her eyes carried storms of pain, but also the light of someone who had survived too much to ever bow again. She wasn't just fighting for herself today. She was standing for something more precious: love. The only thing that had ever given her a reason to breathe through suffering. "You think you can belong here," the older woman said coldly. "You have no name, no background, no family worthy of ours. My son deserves better than a girl who came from nothing." Tu Diem didn't flinch. "I may have nothing, but I gave him everything when he had no one. I fed him when he was lost. I saved him when he was dying, and I loved him when even his own mother failed to see his pain." The room fell into silence. She took a breath, voice trembling but steady. "I won't ask you to accept me. I'm not here to win your approval. I'm here to protect Toan from being hurt by the people who claim to love him most, but only care about control." Toan, standing quietly behind the door, heard every word. His heart pounded. This was the woman he loved, not because she was perfect, but because she was real. Because she dared to speak truth to power. Because when his own world felt empty, she was the only one who brought meaning. Tu Diem turned to leave, tears shining in her eyes. But before she reached the door, Toan walked in. "I heard everything," he said gently, "and I've made my choice. I choose you." His mother rose in fury. "If you walk away with her, you lose your inheritance, the company, everything your father built." Toan looked at Tu Diem, then back at the woman who raised him. "If I lose everything, but I keep the person who taught me how to love, then I lose nothing at all." And just like that, for the first time in her life, Tu Diem wasn't running away. She was walking forward with the man she loved, into a future they would build not with wealth, but with courage and heart. As the heavy doors closed behind her, Tu Diem stood tall, even though her hands trembled slightly. The air inside the mansion was colder than she remembered, but her heart, burning with determination, kept her warm. Across the grand living room, Toan's mother sat regally, her sharp eyes scanning Tu Diem with the same dismissive coldness she always had. The silence was thick with unspoken history. "I didn't come here to beg," Tu Diem said softly. yet every word was laced with strength. "I came to speak as someone who truly loves your son." The older woman raised an eyebrow, lips curling. "Love? Do you think love is enough to bridge the gap between your world and his? You're just a girl from the streets, with nothing, no name, no background, no worth in our society." Tu Diem's eyes glistened, but she did not back down. "Maybe in your world, love means nothing, but in mine, it's everything. I didn't come to steal your son, nor to ruin your pride. I came because I won't let fear control my life anymore." The old woman stood. Her voice trembled, but not with fear, perhaps with the first signs of something softer, long buried. "Do you think standing here changes anything? His world is ruthless." "I know," Tu Diem whispered, "but I faced death, hunger, betrayal, and humiliation to protect the man I love. And I'll do it again." A long silence passed between them, and then unexpectedly Toan's voice broke through. "She's braver than any of us," he said from behind, having returned early from a business trip, standing tall with eyes full of quiet pride. "And she has more heart than this entire house." His mother turned to him, stunned. He stepped forward and gently took Tu Diem's hand. "If you can't accept her," he said calmly, "then you lose a son too." For a moment, the room felt like a battlefield of emotion. But something in the mother's gaze shifted just slightly, not quite approval, but the beginning of surrender. She sat down again, quieter now. "I need time," she murmured. Tu Diem gave a soft nod. "Take all the time you need. I just needed to say this, face to face." As they walked out together, hand in hand, the wind outside was lighter. Not everything was resolved, but Tu Diem had done the hardest thing. She faced the storm and did not break. She knew love wasn't about fairy tales. It was about choosing someone again and again, even when it was hard. And now, no matter what came next, she would never again run from love or from herself. That evening, the grand villa of Toan's family was unusually silent. The air was thick with tension. In the living room, Tu Diem stood with quiet dignity in front of Toan's mother, her hands gently clasped, her voice calm but unwavering. "I know I don't have wealth, a prestigious background, or what you call status," Tu Diem said. Her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. "But I have a heart that loves your son deeply, and a soul that has suffered enough to understand what true love means." Toan's mother, seated in her usual armchair, stared at her. Her face was unreadable, but the tight grip on her teacup betrayed her emotions. "You came from nothing," she said coldly, "and you think love alone is enough." Tu Diem took a deep breath. "No, love alone is not enough, but love with loyalty, with sacrifice, with the courage to stand here and speak to you despite my fear, that is more than enough." Toan entered the room, overhearing the last words. His eyes softened as he saw Tu Diem standing tall, defending their love. "Mother, I have seen many women in my life, but none as strong or sincere as her," he said, walking to Tu Diem's side. "She saved my life when she had nothing. She chose kindness when the world gave her cruelty, and she's never once asked me for anything in return." Silence fell again. Finally, Toan's mother let out a long breath. Her expression softened slightly. "Just slightly. I still think this will be a difficult road," she murmured. "But if you two are willing to walk it together, I won't stand in the way." Tu Diem's knees almost gave out. Toan caught her. Tears spilled, but this time they were tears of quiet joy. Later that night, under the soft glow of the garden lights, Tu Diem and Toan sat together on the wooden bench where they had first talked honestly as equals. The sky was full of stars, and for the first time in a long time, Tu Diem's heart was not weighed down by fear. "I never thought she would listen," she whispered. "You didn't just speak to her, Diem," Toan said gently. "You reached her with truth, with bravery, with love." And in that still moment, as he took her hand, Tu Diem finally believed, after everything she had lost, perhaps, just perhaps, she had found her forever. In life, love is not always about romance and sweet promises. It is about courage, sacrifice, and standing up for what truly matters. The story of Tu Diem and Toan teaches us that true love can only thrive when there is honesty, respect, and the bravery to protect each other against all odds. Tu Diem, despite her painful past and the scars left by betrayal, chose to trust again. She stood up, not just for herself, but for the love she had found, a love that gave her hope and strength. Facing Toan's powerful and skeptical mother wasn't easy. It meant risking everything, including her dignity and safety. But she did not let fear define her. She walked into the fire because she believed love was worth fighting for. Toan, on the other hand, showed that wealth and power are meaningless if you cannot protect the one you love. He did not let social status or family expectations stop him from listening to his heart. His transformation from a helpless man into someone willing to go against everything to support Tu Diem is a lesson in maturity, empathy, and growth. From them, we learn that love is a choice to be kind when it's easier to walk away, to be brave when the world says otherwise, and to hold on when everything seems to be falling apart. In the end, the most powerful form of love is the one that survives storms not because it was easy, but because it was true.